I like it looks like you just have one leaf coming out of your head like a Pikmin.
There's where is it? It's hiding. There's another one way
Yeah.
down here, but yeah, that
I thought
is.
there might be, but yeah.
I have just sprouted one leaf.
Everyone, welcome to Whitney's first episode as an official 1 year older person.
Yay! Thank you,
Yay!
thank you. I'm officially an adult. I got my certificate in the mail that says, "Hello, your brain is fully developed." That's always
Wow.
really exciting. And just
Wow.
for fun, I went out and I rented 15 cars.
Just because you can. It's so interesting the different like ages at which you're allowed to do things.
hmm
Like
And
you could be married 7 years before you can rent a car.
yeah, and it's to
Doesn't that
that
seem odd?
injustice that I've refrained from getting married to draw attention to this issue.
Yeah. You could say, you know what? You can drive, you can have a driver's license and drive for 10
hmm
years before you can rent a car, but you can buy
Yeah,
your own car much sooner and
sure.
also get married and also rent or buy an apartment or,
Yeah, do alcohol.
you can do alcohol. Yeah.
Yeah. hmm
Hmm.
It is ridiculous, and it is a little bit sad um that this is the last
You're
oh,
allowed to do everything now. There's not like another
yes,
milestone
milestone, that's the word.
day.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it. This is all I've got.
Yeah. Life is exciting until you turn 25, and now that you're allowed to do everything, nothing to live for.
It's lost its spice. I have I have no
Yeah.
goals, no more motivation. Your hair looks nice today. Did you straighten it?
Yeah. Well, yesterday I straightened it and then I had like a little bit of curl. And today it's doing that as well, but on accident because I did straighten it. But you know how it is. You just get it like
I sure
straight
do.
enough for people to tell, oh, your hair is straight. And then it doesn't even have to
Oh,
look
it's
good. People just
different.
assume that it looks good because it's different. Yeah, that's the
Yeah,
trick.
yeah. Yeah.
There's something happening. And I say, thank you.
It's definitely a lot easier to do that in a dry climate, like in Arizona or here in Utah or Idaho. Like the
Mhm.
dry helps it be straight. But even in North Dakota, it's not that dry. It's pretty humid, especially in the summer. So if I ever tried
Mhm.
to straighten it there, I'd be like, oh, it looks so good. And then I'd be
And then you
walking out
step
the door
outside. Yeah.
and it goes, oh, straightener. I don't
Hmm.
I don't think I know
Straightener.
her.
Yeah, I hardly know.
I hardly know her. Oh, I made a really good joke this weekend. My
I
brother
do believe
said,
we've met. Yeah.
he's like, this song has Madonna in it. And I said, Madonna, I hardly know her. And no one laughed except for me for a
Oh,
while.
I would have laughed if I'd been there.
I know
And then
you
I
would
would
have.
say, who's Noah?
Maybe it's a good thing you weren't there because then we would have gotten
We would have
trivia.
spiraled. Yeah. Madonna, I hardly know her. Who's Noah? We should go on tour.
We've got the material for it.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, this is the moment we've all been waiting for.
can you feel
Uh,
it? There's a really weird energy here today.
there is. I think it's
Yeah, it's
because
nice.
this is momentous. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like something's about to happen.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Yeah.
We feel it in the air. I feel it in the water.
I feel like I'm
Uh,
watching a glass of water like shake a little bit, you know?
I'm literally doing that right now. Except the reason that it's moving is, and I'll show you, move. The reason it's moving is, I just took a drink out of it, and also my chair is attached to the table. So every time I so much as
So if
blink,
you
it,
move, yeah.
yeah.
We had a rehearsal on stage today for my concert tomorrow, and
hmm
they like sometimes there's like a stage extender and sometimes there isn't. And the last time we practiced in there wasn't, but today there was. And since I'm on the end, everything was scooted over and I'm sitting on this stage extender, which is like totally stable and no problem. But because it's not part of the stage, it does like move with the sound of the band a little bit more. So I feel like sitting there and my music is just like the whole time. I was like, man, this has the potential to get really annoying.
Or really life-threatening. If we're in a situation like that, sounds like a really good setup to Chekhov's gun later in a movie, right? Like you establish a reason why it's moving, and then 45 minutes later you're like, it's moving, but that thing isn't happening.
Wait, the band's not even playing. What's going on? Yeah. It'd be like somebody like 3 chairs down from me would be like tapping their foot and it would shake in time. Yeah, but they were probably just covering up for something much more sinister, namely dinosaur, probably.
Dinosaur. Yeah.
Yeah, most likely.
That was my first thought.
Welcome to Women in STEM, everyone.
Okay.
We're happy to be here,
so
as
happy.
usual. And today we're talking about
I have
one of, huh?
Oh, I thought you were leading into the acronym. I have the acronym, but you do your thing and then we can pretend this didn't happen.
Perfect. Actually, let's just do that. I'll say what we're talking about, and you can just interject with the acronym. That'd be perfect.
Great. Okay. Great. Yeah. I can do that.
And I will keep this conversation in. So
I assumed you would.
Yes. Like I expect nothing more. Not nothing less.
Nothing less.
But nothing more. Welcome to Women in STEM. Today we're talking about
Sudeep is terrorized by Iga Fly. My new favorite.
That's perfect.
Thank you.
Yeah, some of you may have caught in that little acronym there the name of the movie. Iga parentheses fly.
It was subtle.
It was like a not like blink and you'll miss it, but like, is there a similar thing for your ears?
There should be.
There should be.
Yeah. We'll do that later. We'll yeah.
What should be the new phrase for blink and you'll miss it, but for ears?
Oh, actually, blink and you'll miss it. Speaking of, I showed Nope to my family this weekend, and they enjoyed it. It was great, but I was looking up like trivia facts to share with them about the movie, and I came across one from I think Wired that says how Nope subtly hinted that OJ survived at the end of the movie. I lost it. Subtly hinted.
Is it subtle?
Bestie, they show him.
Yeah, he's there. They subtly hint at his survival by the end of the movie by showing him at the end of the movie.
Still alive. And M looking at him, visibly relieved. How Nope subtly hinted that Ant got eaten.
Yeah. How Nope subtly hinted at there's this thing in the sky.
Like, is media literacy so far gone that
it was subtle because M didn't say out loud, OJ, my brother, there you are, and you're still alive at the end of the movie.
Like, I feel like an argument could be made how Nope subtly hints that OJ didn't survive. How you could spin a theory that, you know, OJ is out yonder, he's a ghost, he's surrounded by mist, you know. I feel like I don't agree, but I could see how you could argue that. But that's the theory, right?
It's
that's
more
the
founded.
Implication. Not the very like you have to make that assumption instead of the one that the film gives you, which is that he's fine. You see him and he's okay.
Yeah.
Like, are you trying? You think Nope is trying to double bluff
So
us?
it's
Is that
so
what
funny.
I
Like
lost
he's
it?
a Jordan Peele is a great director, and I think he does a lot of things subtly. But it's not like anything that's done well in a movie is a subtle hint.
Yeah.
It's just like good directing that you liked. You can just say that. It's okay.
Yeah. It's not. There's not always like a secret theory. Like, oh, what if the main characters were dead the whole time? Like,
Like
actually,
then
what if they
the
lived?
story wouldn't matter then. This particular story, they have to be living there. That's the point.
Yeah. And I firmly believe they lived happily ever after forever.
Yeah, me too.
There we go. That's it. How we subtly hint at that is going to be the next article I see. Oh my gosh, I'm like subtly hinting. That's a
Yeah, I'm dropping hints that it's yeah.
yes.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
even remember what the original thing is because I've only seen it edited so many times. Like
Yeah,
I've
me
even used
too.
that to say I'm like dropping hints that it's my birthday.
Yes. Which I should have done on my
Yeah.
birthday.
We can do it now. It'll just be already 2 days behind now, and then 6 weeks behind by the time this is posted. So people will have to, I guess it'll give people time to prepare for your next birthday. They have
Yeah,
almost a year.
you better get on it.
Yeah.
I'm like
We're
subtly dropping
expecting
hints
something
that
big.
I'm single.
Oh, of course.
That's
I
it.
knew
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm like subtly dropping hints that.
That was what my brain was saying, but I was like, that's one of the edited ones. It can't be that simple.
Yeah. No, of course it is.
It's yeah. Anyway, we're talking about a different movie today. Not Nope and not Kim
Yes.
Kardashian meme.
No. Although those are both great movies.
Personal favorites of ours. Yeah.
Yeah. So we today, as aforementioned, we're talking about Iga, which is a Rajamoli classic. This is, I think, what spurred him into international fame, really. And I have to tell you that I've heard of it. I've had it recommended to me, and people have even told me like kind of what it's about. And still, when I watched it, I was so blown away by every 5 seconds, I was like, if I was trying to convince somebody to watch this movie, I would mention this part. Like, this is
Yes.
epic? And then it
Yeah.
just kept happening. I'm like, oh, that's so funny. That's so cool. Like the entire time. Um,
Yeah.
Speaking of spectacle, like, geez, this movie
I know.
rocks.
It goes so hard.
It's so
Like
good.
I I had the same experience because I watched it after you did, and
Mhm.
I had asked you a couple of questions, and you couldn't even give a good response. You're like,
No,
there's
I was
nothing I
like,
can
I'm saying
say.
everything I can, but it's never going to be enough because I didn't want to, like, I knew you were just about to watch it. So I didn't
Yeah.
have to convince you with, like, there's a wizard, you know? I just had
Yeah, but
only
there's a
mentioned it
wizard.
briefly. There's a wizard in this
There's a
movie, and
wizard.
it's like no
It's
big
it's
deal.
a minor plot point.
It's
He's
like
only got like six
so,
lines.
yeah, it's like so minuscule. Like genuinely everything about this movie, I was like, write that down. Like it's so good. I think speaking of it being a classic Rajamouli, I think there's a lot that you can see in his like directorial style, the pieces that he decides to direct or that he writes and then directs. Like you can
Yeah.
this is way more absurd than like Bahubali and Triple R, which we've talked about before.
Yeah.
But it's
Which
kind
play
of the
themselves
same.
very straight.
Right.
Yeah,
And
very sincere.
that's good for them. And
Yes.
this is not meant to be that, right? It's meant to have a different vibe, and I think he pulls it off so well because he still has the same system of taking every idea to its logical extreme. In Bahubali,
Yeah.
it's like, well, how are we going to get these people onto the, you know, I don't know, I guess we just have to make a giant catapult and launch them over there, right? Like whatever is the the farthest steps you can take without giving up, he's going to do in Bahubali. And he also does an Ega, but just like in a totally different way.
He's taking
And
two
it makes
very,
it
very long
so,
steps away
yeah.
from each other. So it's like that Hosier meme where his arms are
His,
very, very
his
far
hands,
away.
yeah.
But
Yes,
it's
these are both
just
my hands.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But he's just so good at taking an idea to its logical extreme, whether it's supposed to be really serious or whether it's supposed to be just like kind of ridiculous to the point that it's like there's no way that this would happen, but I still really want it to happen because I'm enjoying the movie so much. He's perfect.
Yeah.
It's so good. And there are a couple classic shots, the close up of somebody's eye. He does that a couple times. Every
That's
single
a
time I'm like,
Rajamouli special. Like that's I know him. I know that guy.
yeah. Oh, it's so good.
It's like catching a there's a scene in a movie that I like where a guy catches a glimpse of a woman's face bouncing off the reflection of a storefront, and it's like shattered into 1,000 pieces, so it kind of looks like through the lens of like a fly eye. Anyway, but
Which
I
is
it's
a
like
surprise tool that'll help us later, but anyway.
yeah. Every time I see a shot that looks familiar, it's like that where I'm seeing like the ghost of Rajamouli's face just reflected all around me.
He's everywhere. You can tell
He's
he really has
everywhere.
like his artistic fingerprint is on this movie. You
Fingerprint.
can
Yeah.
so tell, you know?
Yeah.
Ah,
Yeah. Absolutely.
it's
It's
incredible.
and it's so like the pacing is really well done too. It doesn't
Yeah.
feel
I felt like the timing was good.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Like you said, he knows how to take it to its logical extreme, but also to make it feel like contained.
Yeah, yeah,
Like,
yeah.
yeah,
Like I
oh,
think
okay,
you're
yeah, this
going
is
with him step by step on the process to the
yeah,
extreme. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. You don't feel like, oh, well, that was quite the leap. Like every step of the way, he set up surprise tools to help us later.
Yeah.
We have like 15 Chekhov's guns in this movie, and it's like, okay, yeah, no, we
Yeah.
totally like.
Chekhov's firing squad. It's the whole lineup.
Yeah, and it's so like it's ridiculous. It's a ridiculous movie, and I mean that with the highest amount of respect I can give it. Like I thoroughly enjoyed this movie with everything I had, and I loved RRR, I loved Bahubali, but this one I was like
It's a
chortling.
completely different
You ever
flavor.
yeah, you ever chortle,
Yeah.
straight up chortle in a movie? I was trying to work on a sewing project, and I
There's
couldn't. I
no
had
way
to put
because you
it
can't
away.
take your eyes away from the screen for 1 second or you'll miss like the coolest or funniest thing you've ever seen in your life.
Sometimes they're the same. This yeah, I okay, we can get into it because there are so many specific scenes that I want to talk about that like will live with me forever.
I
And
know.
I spent so oh go ahead.
I was like, I need to, as soon as I finished it, the whole time I was like trying to remember, I'm like, oh, I need to talk about this. As soon as I finished
Mm-hmm.
it, I was like, I should probably watch it again and like actually take notes. And I didn't take notes, but I like genuinely the whole time you're like, um,
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
I feel
right
like
off the
you need
bat,
to watch it like at least 3 times because the first time is like, wow, life changing. I
so
can
much
feel
just
it. I feel my
happened.
DNA vibrating. Second time is like, oh, but wait, there was this thing and then this thing and then this thing. It's like you're beautiful minding it and you're connecting all
Yeah,
the
you
dots.
can
And then
follow all of
third
his
time,
steps.
that's when you can start the analytics and think, okay, now we can break it down a little bit. But
Yeah.
you got to get to that point. Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah, right off the bat, there's um, she's doing her little micro art at her desk.
Yeah.
And
Cool
her
hobby.
sister-in-law comes in, very cool hobby, and a surprise tool that will help us later. Just happens to be. Her sister-in-law comes in and says, you need to go to sleep. It's 10 p.m. And I, at that point, thought that it was the middle of the day because the
I
light
did
was
too.
so
It's
bright in
very
her
bright
room.
in her room.
It was so bright in her room. And then she like turns off the light and suddenly it's 10 p.m. That was very funny. Um, it was very like Bollywood lighting that was kind of
Yeah.
unusual. But other than that, I mean,
Well, then even in the nighttime, it was just kind of like blue filter. Like she leans
Yeah,
out her window and she's like very clearly like trying hard to see. We can see
we can see
everything.
just fine. Yeah.
And I like that. Nighttime just means blue filter.
Mhm.
Like
Like I still
apparently
want to know what's
Rajamouli,
going on.
yeah, Rajamouli and George Miller of Mad Max Fury Road fame are apparently the only two directors who get this. Oh, and Peter Jackson as well. We know this.
Yes, obviously. It goes without
Yeah.
saying. He invented
Naturally.
that. Yeah.
Where's the light coming from? Same place the music. We've all seen it. Yes. We can move on.
I mean, I feel like I don't even know how to talk about this. This is the same problem that I've had for 4 days.
Okay, I've got
Oh, I
this
think we
because I've
just
been
have to we summarize
summarize and then
something
go
and talk
in.
about what we liked, and then
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Broad
it's
strokes
gonna
of the
take
movie.
us
I've
6 hours.
it's gonna be a while. So I spent almost the entire weekend trying to convince my family to watch this one with me, and they ended up settling for Nope, which I appreciated. But also, I was like, y'all don't know what you're missing here. Like, I know
Yeah,
uh, have I let you down yet? Basically,
yeah.
like, come on,
Like
trust
I
me on
know I
this.
exaggerate, but not this time.
No, please believe me. Felt like Cassandra. Like no one is trusting me. But the okay, broad strokes is main character is Nani. He is in love with a girl. Unfortunately, rich asshole is in love with the same girl and kills
Mhm.
Nani to get him out of the way. Nani gets reincarnated as a fly. And then that's like first 20 minutes. The rest of the movie, you think
The
that would take up a
Fly.
good chunk of the time.
Yeah,
No.
no, 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 no. That's just
The,
backstory so you can understand why right now a fly is trying to avenge his own death by killing the man who killed him, and he's a fly.
mm-hmm. And he's a fly. Like,
It's so
the
wonderful.
most excruciating psychological torture that you've
Like
ever
genuinely, the
seen.
whole time I was watching this, I was like, if Jordan Peele had directed this, you would be so scared.
That's gonna be his next thing.
Because
He's gonna
you'd
be like, but what
be,
if a fly was sentient?
yeah, because you'd be, if he was directing it, you'd be in Sandeep's point of view.
Right.
And so then everything is like deeply scary. Like you do one thing that's like not even that bad, except it is pretty bad. And then you're like, I don't understand why all these bad things are happening to me. And like it feels like he thinks he's going crazy, but then he's like, no, how could I be crazy? I'm right. Everyone else is crazy, which like would be awesome if he it's awesome either way. Like I like that it's really real and he is being tormented by a fly. But it also would be
Yeah, but
so
everyone
funny.
else is trying to convince him, like, no, you're just sleep deprived. You're seeing things, you're imagining things.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
I
it
agree.
literally
Either way,
cannot be a fly. They're like, are hello? Stop it, get help, right?
you need to see a
He's
psychiatrist.
so
Multiple
convinced.
people tell him this.
Multiple people tell him this. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so
Yeah.
funny. One thing I love about his character too is that every important thing is just at his house. He does business
Yes.
meetings at his house. Instead of going to a sauna, he has a guy come with a small, like personal sized tub to his house. He has doctor's appointments at his house. I think if you're worried that your business partner is losing his mind and you don't want everyone to know, have your
Maybe don't
business
have him
meetings
host
somewhere
things.
else. Stop letting him host stuff. He's
Yeah, maybe
bad
don't
at it.
invite him
He's
anymore.
terrorizing. Yeah,
Yeah,
like
this
give him some time off. If you're worried about him so much, just say like, you know what, I'll handle the next meeting. Don't invite him. Give him time
yeah.
off. Let him stay alone in his crazy house with no air.
We can tell people that he's like busy doing something else. Like he's at another important meeting that he couldn't miss, or he's with a client or something along those lines.
Yeah,
No,
yeah, yeah.
they just keep inviting him. They keep bringing him along.
I know. He's in like this crazy car crash. The car flips like 8 times and explodes. And then a fly writes on the
Right.
windshield, I'm gonna kill you.
I will.
Anyway, we can get into that later, but he's in this car accident and he so easily could have died. And then like the next day, he's like the keynote speaker at a really important business meeting. Tell them that he was in an accident and he couldn't make it and have somebody else do the presentation.
Also, why immediately after the
Hello?
accident they have a doctor come to his house to take care of him? Why is he
Yes.
not going to the hospital.
Exactly. This is the whole thing. Like, I think a lot of his problems could be avoided if he just was a normal guy. But then that's the whole issue.
Yeah.
The entire
All
point
of
of
them
his
would have been
character from the beginning is that he's like a bad guy and he's so
super
full
not
of
normal.
himself and he's so far removed from what normal people are like. He sees
Yeah.
these two young people who are like, will they, won't they, in like young puppy love. And
Mm-hmm.
he's like, yeah, I'm gonna kill that guy.
Please be normal about
Like,
this.
dude.
Calm
Ah.
down. He went from 0 to 100 so fast. He couldn't
Like,
even, like, you could have even tried
immediately.
to pay him off.
He didn't
He wouldn't
glance
have
at
done it,
50. He just
but
was like 100.
yeah. And I love him so much because they do a really good job of making him so evil. So,
Yeah.
but also like
But
really,
like
really
believably
likable too.
evil.
Yeah.
It's like I
And
believe that this
just,
guy exists. I think people know him.
yeah, absolutely. I think I talked to him once on the street. It's
Yeah.
he's so entertaining to watch too because the actor just, I mean, he doesn't think I have to pretend that a fly is attacking me. That's undignified. That's beneath me. I'm not going to do that. No, he
No.
goes all in. He's the most convincing part of this movie. Like you look into his eyes and you know that that man is being haunted psychologically, like hunted down by a fly. So it's the torment, it's the psychological factor, but it's also the knowing that it's something
That
so
nobody else is going to believe
insignificant
me because it should be so
because it's a
minuscule.
fly. And he's like, I love him so much because he delivers on every
Mhm.
silly
Mhm.
premise that the movie sets up in
There's
the best
four
possible
full
way.
minutes that he's absolutely completely naked.
Blurt it out. He's it's just after he gets out of
He's
the
standing
sauna.
like this.
He's got the up on a clear glass railing, so you could see everything if they
And
didn't
of course,
blur it
except
out
they have a little blur circle that just follows him around. It's their
in
Merlin.
the movie.
And and by the way, his business partner is also at his house downstairs having a
Holding
meeting.
a
So
meeting.
he runs out like I think it wouldn't be a big deal to run around naked like a crazy person in your own private home. But of course, everyone he knows is there.
Why was he even in
And
the sauna
that's
in the first
early
place?
on.
This is again in the first like 20 minutes, immediately after. And like, why is he, if they're having a meeting downstairs, why is he getting in the sauna in the first place? Bestie, you got company. Host. Like, come on. You deserve, and
He's
it's so,
just a terrible, terrible
so,
person.
because the sauna technician, the he calls him in, and sauna technician comes in. He's like, why didn't you fix the thing? The wheel rolled around and I almost got stabbed and impaled by my own towel hangers, which why do you have them that sharp anyway? But then the guy's like, I don't know, you told me not to bother you. And then he freezes because Sudeep sees fly on the man's head, and he slowly, while making apparent eye contact with this guy, removes his towel and wraps, and the guy
So then you have to
don't,
imagine from the
please don't.
perspective of the worker, like, oh no, I messed up one time. This guy's gonna kill me with his towel, his waist towel. Oh
Not
man.
only the indignity of being killed by a towel, but by the man just being butt ass naked. I love everything about this movie. It's so, so funny. Like, I love him, like Sudeep. Just okay, because I kind of live tweeted this as I was watching it to you.
Yes.
So Sudeep comes on, he's shooting, he's very like, he's got the evil expression that all Rajamouli villains, you know, that's an evil guy. And
Yeah.
like,
Oh,
I knew that, but I texted you, I was like, I'm kind of liking this guy. And you said, wait till he has a psychological breakdown. And I was like, oh, great. That's going to, probably come quite a ways into the movie. No,
no.
that happens like 15 minutes in, and it does like
And then it just
improve.
escalates from there.
He
Yeah.
just gets more and more super insane, crazy person. but they take great care to set him up in the first 5 minutes as like he's so suave. He could get any girl he ever wanted, except for my
Except
wife.
my wife, which is crazy because he's hosting a very important party with so many famous and rich people, and this guy is talking to him about, oh, you could probably get every girl you ever wanted, and he says, except my wife, and in the telling of the story, essentially admits that he killed her, and nobody does anything about it. So many people can hear him, and it's just like, oh yeah, that's just Sandeep. That's how he is, and it's
Whatever.
like, no, that's not just how he is.
He
He
killed a
shouldn't be
lady.
like that.
And the
He
framing in this
clearly
moment,
killed this woman so that he could get her money.
yeah,
And he just openly says that, basically. Like, he doesn't say
yep.
it, but it's like so heavily implied that he may as well have just said it. It would be more
Mm-hmm.
subtle if he just said it.
Yeah,
You could learn a thing or
absolutely.
two from OJ.
Jordan Peele learned subtlety from this movie, apparently, being so subtle that it just is overt. Um, and the
Yeah,
framing
it
of it
circles
too
back
is so
around.
good. Exactly, yeah. It's so good because it does set up this guy as like he okay apparently will never face any consequences for his actions. He's so full of himself. He's so like confident that he'll never get caught, never be punished, and just basically get anything that he asks for and demands. But
Mhm.
also it's done in such a comical way. Like he's brooding and he's off staring to the side and the camera's so close on his face and he's like, she's the only woman that never loved me. He's like, other than that though, and then the camera snaps back and the music starts playing
Yes.
all happy again.
And
It's
his buddy's
so
like,
so funny.
okay. And they just move
Yeah,
on. Like, whatever.
go
That was
off, bro.
weird.
Weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, this movie I thought of, it's like if you put Ghost, Honey We Shrunk the Kids, and the Bee Movie in a blender.
Mhm.
You
And just
mix
pulled
it all
out
up
only the good parts somehow. Like
of
they
all of it,
they
you
make
put it
each
through
other
a
better.
filter.
Yeah.
Yes. And then you garnish it with a single leaf of that tweet. Would you still love me if I was a worm?
Yeah.
It's all of those things, the best parts of it, all put together. And every single bite of it is so delicious. It's everything. It's everything to me. He collapses into insanity so fast.
So
Like,
quickly. It's like it's his first move.
yeah,
Like if
he's trying
anything goes
anything
wrong in his
else.
life, his plan A is like, okay, I'll just probably go insane then. Like, you know what I'll do? Somebody's being a little bit inconvenient to me because he is in love with my crush. So probably what I'll do is just like threaten him and then kill him. And then basically problem solved.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't have any other ideas. He has plan B has never even crossed his mind. It's just plan.
That's the one plan.
Just the one, which is
Crazy thing
like
is that
lose it.
almost works.
I know
If
it's
this
crazy
major
how
thing didn't
like
happen, if he didn't get reborn as a fly,
yeah.
Sudeep's plan would have worked.
Sudeep's plan absolutely would have worked. He would have got away with it too if it weren't for a fly.
I love it
Anyway,
so much. So Sudeep,
yeah.
yes,
Let's
we
yeah.
know him, we love him. Fantastic antagonist. Um,
So good. Like the greatest antagonist of all time. He's so much fun to watch.
yeah, he's really
You're
a
so invested in
soaking wet
everything he's
man.
doing. Yeah, because he's crazy. Their
Mm-hmm.
little love story. It's their neighbors. They like live across the alley from each other.
Mm-hmm. Bindu is
And
the one who
the
does micro art.
yes, Bindu's
Yeah,
awesome.
we
She's an
love her.
artist. And Nani is like a fireworks technician, which kind of
I don't
comes up,
know.
but not really, because it's mostly about her job and also hobby. Um, anyway, they like their first scene together, the power goes out on their block, and so she can't do her little micro art. And so he gets tinfoil. He steals tinfoil from his roommate Noel and puts it on the satellite dish and angles it just right so that the moonlight will reflect off of it and into her room so that she can finish her project. which is like so over the top, like grand gesture, but for him, it's just normal. That's just how he
That's
interacts with Bindu. And they
absolutely, and that's just
just
how
like,
Rajamouli protagonists like women is
yeah, that's true.
110%.
Yes.
Yeah,
It's,
it's
yeah,
again
it's
never
all the
subtle.
way. It's all or
No,
nothing. Yeah.
Shivu tattooed Avantika
Yes.
because he,
Before saying hi to her.
yep, didn't introduce himself. He's like, here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna set up matching tats for later in the movie.
Yeah.
They're,
Once
like,
I
yeah, it's
convince you that you can think about more than one thing and you actually can have love in your life if you just open up to it, you'll be like, and there's the matching tattoo. It's perfect. Yeah. It's
wow.
very, yeah. It's another like
Yeah.
signature Rajamouli thing, but then it also just lends to their characters so well that Bindu the whole time, like while Nani is alive and human, it's like, no, I don't like him. And like constantly checking her text to see if she has a message from him and like purposefully like
She
losing gas in her motorbike so that he has to walk her home, like she's trying to play it so cool, but she obviously like really cares for him.
yeah, he's
It's
been
just such a
crushing on her
cute
for 2 years.
for 2 years. And she's
Yeah.
always like known him and kind of known that he likes her, but she's like, well,
Just
she's
teasing him.
a
It's
little, yeah, she's just a little
it's her
playful.
role in their game that they play. And
Yeah,
he like
he eats it
devours it
up.
too.
Yeah.
She does her she does everything she can to like blow him off and like shut him down, playfully of course, but everything
Hmm.
she does, she's like, I'm gonna skip giving him the blessing from the temple and I'm gonna go to the next guy. And he's like, did you see that? I can't believe she only missed me. I'm so special to her. Or she sends him a blank text and he's like, can you believe this? And his friend is like, huh?
And so just like, is it perhaps an accident? And then he's like, no, you don't understand. I can fill in the blank message with anything I want.
I
And he's
okay,
right.
he's right
That's so
every time.
funny.
It's so good because like it shows that they know each other so well. And as much as she says, like, no, get away from me. Like, I don't like you're gross. Like she
Ew.
goes out of her way to spend time with him. Like she has Sudeep drop her off at the market because she sees Nani there. She has them switch tables at the restaurant so she has a better look at Nani. Like they
Yeah. Oh,
clearly
it's
they
so
make
cute.
it very clear that she enjoys spending time with him just as much as he enjoys spending time with her, but she's just more hesitant about like diving into something, whereas he's just very overt with his feelings. And I will
Yeah.
also say too, normally this trope really irritates me. Like the in real life, that's not how this is. If a girl
Mhm.
says she doesn't like you, she probably just doesn't like you. Leave it
Yeah.
alone. But in the Rajamouli world, in the SSRCU, the
See
SS
you.
Rajamouli cinematic universe, as we all know,
Mhm. It's
if a girl says I
yeah,
don't like you, that like that
it's
means as you
code.
wish. It
Yeah.
does. Yeah.
Yeah.
We like yeah, she's crazy about him. We know this. She loves
Yeah.
him so much. Like they're adorable. They're so cute.
They're so
Even
cute.
before
I
they get
love
together.
the scene where he walks her home. Is one of the only, it's pretty light on the musical numbers, this movie.
Yeah. But all of them
Um
slap.
they're all so good.
Yeah. None of
And
them
we'll
miss.
get to the we'll get to the best one. But this one I love where they're like walking home at night and he is like twirling around and singing a beautiful aria and like splashing water. Like he's so in love and she just keeps walking. It's so funny. It tells so much of their characters, right? That he's like overly romantic and very
Yeah.
expressive, and yeah, he's dancing
Yeah.
the night away, and she's like walking home.
She pushes him into a pool at one point, and he takes the opportunity to sing under the water up at her while posing and knowing what to do within the water. It's so funny. And like you look at someone like Shivu and Avantika or Bahu and Devasena, they are very evenly matched and they all of their dance numbers are like them kind of working with each other. That's
Yeah.
not
Which
this
is mostly
at
because
all.
Prabhas is like not a dancer.
He's not a dancer, so she's gotta
So they
pick
have
up.
to like lift his weight a little more, but yeah.
Yeah,
This is
and
like completely not that. She's like
no, she's
she's
not
just
picking up
walking.
anything he's putting down.
It's so funny.
Equally funny.
So, and I think like out of context, it would look like, oh, maybe she's just not that into him. But then it's the night like he walks her home and he's so theatrical about it. And she just gets home and you might think it's no big deal. But then she texts him, she makes a little micro art for him
Because she's inspired by something he
because she's
says.
inspired by something that he says. And she goes home and makes these like two interlocking heart things. And it's so cute. And she makes it for him and she goes out to show him and he says, I love you. Like that's the time that she says it, right? Is right after this. So you can tell that
Mm-hmm.
as much as she's trying to play it cool.
Yeah, and we had already established like she
we
does like
already
him in
yeah,
her
we
own
already knew that
way.
he that they liked each other, but this is the
Yeah.
point that it's like the yeah, the two contrasting characters just love each other so much. It's so cute.
Yeah. They're
Yeah.
adorable. They're really
Yeah.
good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course this is also the moment where Nani gets got.
He gets kidnapped by Sudeep and company. So so Bindu comes out to the street to find him and he's not there. And she's like, but I just saw him from my window. Like he can't be that far, right? So she's like kind of walking around. She gives him a call and a text and like talks to his
And
friend.
she
And
knows him so well too. So like he wouldn't just
yeah, she's
leave.
like,
And he's been
it's
after her for
weird.
2 years.
Yeah. It's like, of course he wants to be there. And you're frozen a little bit, but I assume you'll catch up. Ah,
Yay,
so
hi.
hey.
Hi.
Um,
Um
But then yeah, he doesn't show up to their little nighttime date with her art because he gets kidnapped. He's pulled into a white van
gets snatched.
and driven out to another location. And then the reveal that Sudeep is like, and here's the thing that got me. Nadia and Bindu seem young, you know?
Yeah.
Like to the point that it's almost like, is that allowed? That Sudeep likes her? Is that a can you do that?
There's definitely a little bit of an ethical question
Yeah,
for
there might
sure.
be several. But
At
anyway,
least one, maybe more. Who knows? We'll get into it.
maybe more. The thing is, like, even if she's like, because I think she runs like this nonprofit thing. So she's probably not in high school. Like, she's probably in her 20s, but she still just
Mm-hmm.
seems young enough that it's like weird that this like super rich business mogul,
Yeah, like
you know,
CEO, already married and widowed.
like date
But
somebody
like,
your own age. But anyway,
yeah.
so they have this like this like fight where Sudeep is beating up Nani for like being 20. He's like, how
And then he's
dare
like,
you?
what are you doing? Why are
And then
you
he's
hitting
like, I
me?
don't
Please stop.
I don't understand. I don't even know you. And
Because
then
even though um Bindu has been hanging out with this guy for a couple weeks now, apparently he only has eyes for Bindu. He has not even registered this guy at all, and that's pretty
yeah,
funny.
barely recognizes him, even though they've been in the same place several times.
A lot,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, then it's revealed that they're both fighting over Bindu, and Nani
Yeah,
says
and immediately.
he gets so serious, right? Because all this time he's been this really goofy theatrical guy, whatever. But then when it
Mm-hmm.
when it comes down to it, of course he's very serious about her because he loves her. And he says,
Yes.
"Stay away from Bindu, or I will kill you." And then Sudeep is like, interesting. What if I kill you first?
And this is the part that
And
got
it's a
me.
little weird.
It's like
He pushes him to the
this guy
ground and
could
steps on
just
his
be
throat.
normal for 1 second about anything.
Exactly.
Like, you didn't have to try to
Exactly.
kill this guy. You didn't have to kidnap him in the first place. And when
No.
you're trying to kill someone, maybe don't have your minions take off your socks and shoes so you can
So you
strangle him
can
with your
feel
toes.
so you can feel the air leave his body. I mean,
He's like, he's
what?
got him pinned against the ground with his foot while he's texting Bindu from Nani's phone. getting a text from Bindu that says, I love you, where are you, please come back, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Because she's like just confused, she
And
doesn't know
then
what's going on.
he gets mad that Bindu is texting I love you to Nani instead of to him, which
As he's
seems like
strangling this man with his toes,
with his bare foot. Now that's something to think about.
there was a movie condemning foot fetishes. It's like Rajamouli was like, you want to be like this guy, huh?
Huh?
You freaks,
Put your socks back on. You absolute sicko.
oh my gosh,
So weird.
really freaky, dude, why are you doing that?
And all of it, he has several people there with him.
Like a lot more
Like it can't
minions
just
than
be
you,
like
I
him
think, you
and a
would want to have.
bodyguard. It's like him and 5 bodyguards. And one of
Yeah.
them is just well, one of them's like his only job is to take off his shoe and peel off his sock.
Gross.
It's so weird.
Maybe don't be doing that. Yikes. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, where were we? It doesn't matter.
No. Anyway, so Nani's dead, but in his dying moments, he hears Bindu confess her love to him while he's killed by this asshole. And
Yeah.
this death is so like tragic and wrongful that he's like, actually, no, I'm not quite done yet. So we see his spirit get and then into a little tiny egg
Out of his body.
out of his body, onto a little egg
A
as it floats
larvae.
down a stream, and we'll see that in a minute.
Yeah.
We'll get to it, but like Sudeep is kind of making moves on Bindu now, and he's like, super normal thing to do. Now I'm gonna just like flirt with this 20-year-old.
Yeah.
Okay, man.
And she is like, well, it's perfect because now she's feeling emotionally vulnerable, which is like side eye. Like,
well, and everyone in her life is like, girl, why are you still upset over Nani? And she's like
I
breaking
know.
down. She's
It's
so
been
upset.
like
And
a day
everyone, yes,
when everyone's like, listen, I understand that you're sad, but life goes on and you just have to, you have to forget about him. That's what he would want. And it's been 2 days probably.
yes, it'd be one thing if that was
Like,
just
it's
Sudeep telling her that, because yeah, that guy's evil. But it's
because
her
he's a bad guy.
sister-in-law, it's Nani's
Her
roommate,
friends. Yeah, like
everyone
she knows is like, yeah, that's really sad. Anyway, time to move on.
Are you ready for lunch? Like, come on, let's go. We gotta,
Yeah. You're being a real downer right
like,
now.
literally get over it, okay?
Yeah. It's
Oh my
been
gosh.
hours. Oh man.
Let her grieve.
Yeah.
Oh my
Like grief
goodness.
takes time and everyone takes a different amount of time. And also it kind of depends on the
Usually though, longer
relationship that
than
you
a
have
week.
with that person. And it's usually longer than a week, even if it's not somebody that you're in love with.
Yeah, and lost your chance with. So it's not only like it's an established relationship. She's feeling guilty because she didn't
Because
like,
she's like, oh, I could have told him earlier that I loved him and then we would have had a
yeah.
child.
So it's a
So
very
there's like,
complex.
survivor's guilt maybe a little bit. Interesting. And they're like, that's not real. Do your job.
Everyone in this movie
Get
is being
over him. You'll
gaslit
find
so many
somebody
different
else.
ways.
It's crazy. It's not
Oh my gosh.
normal.
Wait, one more thing. I forgot to mention. This one is so funny to me. Nani, so Bindu runs this nonprofit, right? And Nani comes in every month to make a donation of 15 rupees. Now I'm like, no, that doesn't seem like a lot, but I'm just going to check and see how much that is in US dollars. Do you know how much it is? It's 18 cents.
Yeah.
It is less than $1. It's so funny because Sudeep donates 15 lakhs later in the movie, and I looked that up, and that's that's like 20,000 US
It's like
dollars.
a few
Like
thousand. Yeah. It's like a
a
big
good
deal.
amount. Yeah,
A
a good amount of
life-changing amount of
money.
money for a lot of people. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And for a nonprofit organization for children and education, that could do a lot of good. And Nani's all bitter because he's like, he gives 15 once and I give it every month. Like, who does this guy think he is? Why is she so
Yeah.
excited about him? And it's
No, I was like, you give 15 cents and he gave $15,000. Like it's about the same. And he's like, yes, it is. I'm consistent. Haven't you ever read The Widow's Mite? And oh, it's so good.
anyway, I really like Nani. He's
He's
ridiculous.
so awesome. He's so goofy.
He's just a little bit grating. And
Yeah.
it wouldn't work for everybody, but clearly it so works for Bindu because her sister-in-law comes in and Nani's there just kind of like pulling her pigtails a little bit, and her sister-in-law's like, girl, did you see, like, what's going on here? And she's like, I hate him so much, get out of here. And her sister's like, okay, interesting.
Okay.
Like she's
Yeah.
not like good at hiding it, but
Yeah. She's
yeah,
not
like
fooling
clearly
anybody,
everyone else
really.
in her organization is like a little bit irritated by him as well because he's very loud and goofy and like
Yeah,
center of
he's very much
attention.
like a class clown and whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so everyone loves to roll their eyes at him, but also they're like, man, he's late today. Like, man, I
Yeah,
can't
like
wait to
they
be
like
annoyed by
having
this
him
guy.
around. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, so he's great and also like unique. He's not like, anyway, yeah, I like him a lot. um but I, so I like him as a person.
Mhm.
Fly Nani,
Out of
infinitely
this
better.
world. He's so
He's
cool.
my hero.
Because
I
he has
going
his
into this
one
movie.
goal. Now his goal, instead of being like, "Ooh, I'm gonna flirt with Bintu until she admits that she likes me back," and now his goal is like, "I am going to avenge my death." So he becomes
Yeah,
very serious, but he still has like these kind of wacky ideas or whatever. Like you can still tell that it's the same personality, but
or like,
just
yeah, little
driven very
same
differently.
mannerisms in the
Yeah.
tiny little body of a fly. Like he does a hair swoop with
Yeah.
his little
He doesn't
fly
have any
fingers.
hair.
No.
Yeah.
it's and it's so fun too because the fly does not have, like, it doesn't try to talk and you don't have any like monologue that you hear, and I love that. Rajamouli, he's
Hmm.
like, I'm not going to spoon feed information to my audience, they're going to get it. So we
They'll figure it
see
out. Yeah.
Bindu, no, not Bindu, we see Nani reborn as a fly, and kind of get some flashbacks, but clearly he doesn't have like consistent memories of his life as a human. He's just a fly right now, and kind of working on instinct. But then he lands in a little pot of tea that's about to be served to Sudeep. So he sees this
Uh-huh.
face of the asshole that killed him
And he's like,
while he's
whoop,
being
flashbacks.
yeah.
Oh, it's wild. It's so
And I
good.
love this shot too because we see Sudeep stirring the liquid in the pot, and Nani's having a life-changing experience while he's floating inside the liquid. But then we get a shot of the actor for Sudeep going like this around the camera, so it's like meant to look like he's, but clearly it's just this guy who was like, pretend you're stirring, like whipping around so big so we can get the shot of what it looks like inside the thing. Anyway, I love it so much.
Yeah, it's so
It's
funny.
so
Like
funny.
imagine swirling your tea like instead of like this, like so
So
good.
big. Yeah. So Nani,
But
he's
you know,
like,
Sudeep,
oh,
he's
Sudeep.
odd. So maybe he just does that. Every morning he has his cronies come in with a big old jug of iced tea that
A
he's only going to drink
cauldron.
one sip up. And he has to stir it like for 10 minutes. It's his ritual.
15 counterclockwise, 5 clockwise. Like,
Yeah.
again, can this guy just be normal? No, he's
No, it's far
incapable.
too
He's
late.
too rich.
Yeah.
It's far too late. He's lost his chance. He's not normal and he's gonna die. We
Yeah.
know this.
It's too late.
so Nani is
He's
like
such
a
a
fly.
freak.
My favorite shot in the whole. I'm gonna say that a lot, but this one really, really got me. This was the first moment where I had to pause the movie because I couldn't breathe. Nani is furious. He's livid. He's just escaped from the pot of tea and he's on the desk and he's like, he gets his wings going and when he shakes off the water on his
Yeah.
face. And we hear the
Yeah.
sound of a plane starting, going, and then he takes off with a trail behind him, like a trail, like
Yeah,
like a
chemtrail, but
plane.
it's just of like his iced tea that he was just sitting in.
It's so big and dramatic. It goes, and then he just ding.
Because again, and I can't stress this enough, he's a fly.
And he's just kind of irritating him at first, just being like a mild nuisance, really.
Yeah. Sandeep
But then
obviously thinks nothing of it. He's just like, oh, there's like a fly in here and brushes it off like once or twice and then leaves
to go see Bindu,
to go
and
and see
Nani's
Bindu.
like,
Yeah,
Bindu. Oh my gosh. And we see him remember her. And
yeah. Mm-hmm.
how he loved her. Oh my gosh, Bindu, 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 Bindu. And suddenly it's not just about revenge. Suddenly it's also about, I have to keep her safe. She doesn't
Mm-hmm.
know. Like, and it's, again, it's a
Like he
ridiculous
remembers
premise.
who kills him and then he remembers why. And
Yeah.
it really escalates the story. Like he could so easily just give up
Yeah.
and live the life of a fly for, a week or however long they live, and then like, no big deal.
Yeah.
But now he has, yeah, his motive, avenge his death, and in the process, avenge the person that he died for.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so
And
you're like,
there's that like
it's so good.
sincerity there. That
Yeah,
again, we've said this, if we've said it once, we've said it 1,000
a
times.
thousand
The best humor
times.
has a bit of emotional weight to it.
Mm-hmm. And
Like the
this is
reason the
what
story
makes
holds water.
like, yeah, yeah. And this is why he's such a good director, right? Because whatever the premise is, he's going to take it seriously. He's going to be sincere.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's going to pull it off.
Yeah.
Ah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's so, so good. And this one I think is my favorite song because he goes, Bindu, Bindu. And just like he's just desperately trying to get her attention, but he's a fly. He can't.
Oh my gosh, it's so good.
And it's such an emotional
Anyway,
song, and it sounds so like mournful, but it's just he's like kind
it's
of
a fly. He's so little because he's a fly.
just a little fly.
Um, the
Oh.
the point at which he finally gets her attention. She has been told by everybody that she needs to move on from Nani, which
Mm-hmm.
again is crazy because it has not
Yep.
been that long and nobody else can dictate your mourning period. So it's like,
Right.
what the hell? But anyway, she like has the necklace that she made for him and she puts it in a box and is about to put it away. And then she takes it back out again and just weeps. And he's like, aha, perfect. I'll write
But
a message
wait,
with her tears.
even before that though,
Like,
he lets her cry for a minute. Why is Nani a fly? If we haven't said it enough, he's a fly. He's a critter. He's not a human person. He sees enough. He's like, okay, I'm gonna give her a minute. She clearly like needs to just let some things out. I'm gonna like.
because
So he
everyone else has not been letting her cry. So he just sits there and lets her cry, and then that ends up being to
Yeah.
his advantage because she's spilled enough tears on the desk that he can write her a message.
Yeah.
But that's not like why he waits. He's just trying to
No.
give her a
Yeah.
minute because nobody else has given her that time. And
Right.
then he writes, I am Nani on her desk in her
Reborn.
tears. And she looks down and it's like, no. And he's like, yeah. And she's like,
She's all in immediately.
immediately.
She's like, she sees that message, and instead of calling anyone else in to like confirm this, that she's seen it, she's like, she
Right.
scoops him up
Because
on her
again, it
finger
could
and
so
is like,
easily,
for
like,
real?
if you're living outside of Roger Millie's cinematic universe, it could so easily be a trick of her own imagination because no one is giving her space to grieve, right?
Mm-hmm.
That would be the logical explanation. Except in this
Sure.
movie, the actual explanation is that that's Nani and he's a fly. No.
He sure is. He's such a fly.
So she's like, oh, okay. What happened to you? And he has to
An
like,
accident, right? And he's like, and his little fly head shake his head like, no,
yeah. And
no,
she's like,
not an accident.
what? Then what happened? And then he's like, how do I explain this? I'm a fly. And he sees like a newspaper that has Sudeep's face on it. So he flies over there and is just like, and she picks up on it pretty quick.
Really quick.
She's
Yeah,
like,
you can
oh,
tell how well they knew each other pre-fly, because post-fly, they like that nonverbal communication.
yeah.
It's they don't very small learning curve is what I'm trying to
Mhm,
say. They
mhm.
didn't have to change much. What do we
All
do
right.
now? And he dips his, this is my, I love this so much.
Oh, this part
He
is awesome.
finds,
I love how many messages he writes to people in this movie. He's a fly.
yes, he's a fly. He dips his front little fingers in red paint and he flies back over to Sudeep and he draws a red line across the man's throat. And again, Bindu is all in on this. She's like, yeah, you're right. We probably ought to kill him.
Yeah.
Like, no thought to like, maybe do we take this to the police? Do I tell anyone else? Do I try to ruin his reputation? No, she's like, this. What
Right.
if a fly came in and
Immediately
told you
she's
to
like, yeah,
murder someone today?
an eye
Would
for
you
an
do
eye.
it?
Mhm. Yeah.
She's already sharpening her knives.
Yeah.
Like, who do you need? Like, that's it.
Yeah.
Like, she's so,
She's all
so,
in immediately.
yeah,
Which
yeah.
again, in the Roger Millie cinematic universe, there's a goofy guy who falls in love with a woman, and she's gonna
Who's
play hard to get a
badass.
little bit, and
Mm-hmm.
then she's all in.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'll kill for you,
like
no problem.
genuine ride or die. This is
Yeah.
the definition of that phrase. Not only would she, not only does she still love him, like after grieving his death, even though everybody told her like, "Hey, get over it." It's like we could just have it's. She doesn't even try to convince him to not kill the guy.
No,
Like
no.
she's
She
like, I could
immediately
make
is
this a
like,
beautiful,
okay.
yeah, I can make us a beautiful life here. I'll make you a cute little fly house, and we'll be happy. No, no, it's yeah, okay. I'll see what I can do. And again, because she's a micro artist.
She makes him little goggles and like knife hands.
This is the best. It's so funny because we really see, I mean, at this point, Sudeep has already been like tormented a little bit. Like
Yeah,
he
just
hasn't been just a touch, really just a taste of what's coming in his future
yeah,
because
it's
Nani has
awesome.
kept him from being able to sleep. He crashed his car by flying right into his eyeball and like wrote out the words, I will kill you. Really funny, like that a lot. But now it's like serious. So Sudeep is going crazy. He's lost his mind. He's had all his henchmen have fly repellent and also fly swatters in like one in each hand, ready
Yeah.
at like standing at attention. They're bringing him handfuls of flies. That's not normal. Even
Not at
like,
all.
and again, he's right. A fly is trying to kill him, but even in that situation, this is unhealthy behavior.
Yeah.
Like, yes, seek help, please.
It's so funny. Something I love about that little detail when the fly writes in English, "I will kill you" on the windscreen to let him know that he's not reincarnate. Um, Later, Sudeep is like, did that happen? Or am I going crazy? So he goes to like the junkyard lot where all the crashed cars go, and he finds his car and he finds a piece of windshield that says kill on it. And he's like, I can't be crazy, it's right here. And then throws it
Throws it
away.
away. So anybody,
Trying to convince anyone that this was real, you could at least try to pick up like one shred of evidence. He picks up a piece of evidence and then being like, oh, this is a little dubious, but I bet I could get somebody to believe me. He just shatters it on the ground, has a run in with a wizard, and is like, whatever, wizard, I don't need you. And the wizard's like, you will. And then leaves.
Like his henchmen
What does he
are
do
all
that for?
like
Why did nobody go with him? He needs 6 bodyguards to do any task except
we're
try
not
to
six
prove,
bodyguards to kill a person.
yeah, except to prove that somebody's after him. He'll go by himself and then shatter the evidence on the ground. Sadeep.
Like even if people didn't believe it was a fly, it's there they could say something orchestrated it to make it look like a fly or make you think it was a fly.
Yeah. He would at least
There would be
have something. There would be something to say there is
something.
someone after me and it's not just me.
Yeah, but no.
No, no, no.
Nah.
Why
Moving
can't
on.
people believe me? The evidence is right here. Ugh, those idiots.
Oh
Okay,
my
man.
gosh.
Sure, that's
Oh my
normal.
gosh. And I love about him too because he doesn't really try to convince anybody else. Like his henchmen
No.
just have the
He just, if
tools
they
to kill
just don't believe
flies.
him, then he's like, ugh, whatever, and just stops talking to them. He's like, they're
Or he'll
toxic. I have to cut them out of my life. And
yeah.
then that's it.
But
So
like you
dumb.
have to think he has to pay his people fairly well because if my boss
They will put up
had
with a
like a
lot.
psychological breakdown and thought a fly was trying to kill him, I'd say maybe time to look for other work. But these guys, all of them are just like, yeah, no, okay. We're here for you, dude. We
Yeah.
will
It kind of
protect
makes you
you.
wonder, like, if he just has phases like that, and they're like, Sadeep's doing this thing, whatever.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
It'll
And
last like a
it's
month at best. We'll
it's
be fine.
obvious too that bad things keep happening to him. Even if
Yeah.
it's like they're all accidental completely. Like the drink that's which by the way, why would you take a flaming shot if you think a fly is trying to kill you? Why are you tempting fate? I like
Yeah. It's funny because he's so careful about like so many things in his home. But then anytime he leaves his home, he's like, oh, sure, I'll just go out drinking with the boys. Nothing can hurt me. 5 minutes ago, you were just complaining that anything could get you.
yes. And now you're on fire on your face.
Yeah, and it's your fault.
Absolutely. Yeah. So like it's so funny because from an outside perspective, again, it looks like just this guy's going through a streak of bad luck. It's
Yeah,
just like that's kind of unfortunate. There's no proof that a fly is trying to kill him
yeah.
until
Or anybody.
or anybody really. It's
Yeah.
just a streak of unfortunate occurrences. Um it's a beautiful story. It really is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just awesome.
I mean, they concoct so many delicate plans to harm this
Yeah,
guy.
they're masterminds.
They really
It's
are.
actually a good thing that Bindu like runs a nonprofit for children's education because otherwise she'd probably take over the world.
And she could.
Like she's
Make
using
no
her
doubt
powers
about
for
that.
good, thankfully. We'd all be in trouble. It's so awesome. He lives in a house with a huge gun collection, and I have to say, they're loaded. Did you notice that? There's a point where he's trying to shoot a fly with a bullet. Because he's so stupid and crazy. A fly has gotten into his house and he doesn't have his like aerosol. So the next best thing is to just shoot it.
Shotgun.
And remember, there's always 15 to 20 people in the room with him. So
Always.
he's putting so many people's lives in danger, his own and all of his employees, but he's like, I gotta get this fly. So he takes one of his um gallery
Yeah, he's
guns
got
off
like a
of his
wall of
wall.
mounted guns,
He has
which in my
several.
head, they're stuffed and mounted like
Yeah, he
like
won
trophy
the.
kills. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Basically, except he takes one off the wall, and so it's like, why was that
He doesn't
loaded
have
and
to
just
load.
hanging on the wall? You have
Hello.
25 guns on your wall for decoration, but they also have bullets inside of them, and the safety's off. Sadeep had problems long before the fly. That's all I'm saying. Like he was
Also,
tempting death constantly.
absolutely. And
Living in a
just
house with
financial
loaded
ruin.
guns just sitting on the wall? Why?
And why did you have $15 million in cash in a safe in your office? one of the first lines in his like in one of the meetings at the beginning are
Oh,
like, hey, the auditor said maybe it's not a good idea to have all that cash just like in one spot. And
just
he's
like
like,
sitting there.
what's it gonna do? No one's gonna rob me.
And then that's basically true because he tries to break into his own safe because he got the code wrong because there's a fly in the room. So he gets the code wrong, and then he's like, "Ah, oh, I guess I just have to blowtorch it open." But then again, the fly is still in the room, and he can't blowtorch the fly.
Why does
That
he
would
have
be too
a
obvious.
blowtorch?
He just has a little blowtorch, not like one of the little baby ones for like desserts, like a good size one.
Like a
Has it.
blowtorch.
And so he's gonna blowtorch the safe open, but then again, the fly is still in the room and he can't blowtorch the fly. So he has it up against the safe and then he gets attacked by a fly and just leaves it there so it burns a hole in the safe and then also sets one of the bills on fire. And so then it just
Creates an
explodes
oven.
all of his millions of dollars cash while he's in there.
So
So he
it's
can't even
so
blame
good.
anybody else. He's the only one in the room.
Oh, this is
He's
after
so
one of the most
stupid.
disastrous business meetings ever of all time because his business partner is like, okay, dude, please, can you just try to be normal for like a half hour? We just have to get through this meeting and they're not going to have it without you. So just be like, cool. Okay.
Just
And
like
so
be
he's like,
normal.
yeah, man,
Just read the speaker notes on the bottom of the slideshow.
that's it. He's
That's
like, man,
it.
why would you even say that? Like, look, this is me. I'm Sudeep. Okay.
It's like you're
Why,
doubting
like,
me?
so he comes into the room
Immediately
in
bombs the
a motorcycle
presentation.
helmet.
He immediately bombs the presentation so bad. And then the one of the like shareholders that they're trying to convince to like invest in whatever their business is, I still don't know, has a little
Construction.
fly on his head. And Sudeep is like, hold still. He starts attacking people in the
Head
conference
down.
room.
And everyone is like,
Sudeep,
what are you
stop,
doing?
stop. And they're trying to like pull him off of these guys, but he like
He
keeps
grabs a
seeing the
flower
fly, so he's
pot
like
and like
attacking people right onto his head.
clearly full psychotic break. Fly or not.
Like he's obviously not okay. They should have just let him keep the motorcycle helmet on. And just be like, it's a little honestly, because hadn't he just had like a car
A
accident and he's
super
still
bad
recovering?
accident.
So you so easily could just be like, he's wearing a helmet, just like it kind of keeps him stable and like he probably has a concussion. He's fine. Like, don't worry about it. I feel like you could just beforehand talk to the other businessmen and be like, there's something going on with him, but he's fine, and let him keep the helmet on. And then you could avoid him like physically abusing everyone in the room.
So
This
bad,
movie
dude.
is awesome.
It's the most fun I've had in a really long time. I thoroughly enjoyed every
So
single
good.
moment.
The whole time I was watching it, I was like, who do I know that can that has a couple hours to spend watching this movie, and
Yeah,
like
dude, I'm having a graduation party in a couple weeks and I'm already sending people invites for like, we're not doing anything but
to
watching
watch
this
EGOT.
movie. That's it.
So,
Like, this is going to be my grand celebration, is ending the year
it's
on
so
this
good.
note. And I can't imagine a better way to do it. Everyone I already
No.
know has already seen RRR.
Yeah.
So like I've
So you have
tapped
to
that
think,
market.
hmm what's something that's just as exciting, but a little more lighthearted, you know? Like if you don't
Yeah.
want to get political at your graduation party, you can just watch EGOT instead. Why? Can I
Nani,
just ask you a question real quick?
yes.
Why is the
Yeah.
CGI in this movie better than Bahubali?
I don't know. I don't know.
Can't be
The fly
right.
doesn't look good, but it still looks better than it should.
Yeah.
And I forget after like 5 minutes because the first shot of the fly, I'm like, it doesn't look that great. And then
Yeah, you're like,
immediately
am I
after
gonna
that, I
have to
was
watch
like,
this for the rest of the movie? But then it doesn't matter.
I just
Yeah.
forget about it. And I'm so sorry, just real quick. I do completely understand the idea that like you could be driven to madness by a fly because, as you know, friends of the channel may know, I am plagued by fruit flies constantly.
Mhm.
They're always in this corner. No other corner in my house, just this one. And
Mhm.
like they're not even loud. It's just they're just kind of there. Fruit flies are so annoying, but I can imagine so easily that yeah, okay, if a fly, like a real one, picked a vendetta against me, I could see how so easily that could like
Yeah.
I I
Yeah.
I'm
You can
impressed that
understand
he
Sudeep.
took that long
Mhm.
to really go like all out crazy because I don't think it would. I think I'd break faster.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No, the CGI though, it does look really good.
Yeah. I think there's like the initial sequence of him like becoming a fly and then trying to get his wing unstuck
The
before
music.
he drowns. I think, yeah, the CGI is like a little bit much, like the colors are a little weird, but then that kind of fits because earlier it was 10 p.m. in the middle of the day, so it's like it honestly wasn't that
Right.
weird to me. And the
And maybe
music
it's
is
just
so
fly
epic.
vision. And he's back as he's like puts
He's
one foot
back.
down, 1 foot down, and then he goes fly.
Uh,
He like
Like,
flicks his head a little bit, but the music's going doo 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 doo. He is back. So
so
funny
it's
and way
so
cooler than it
funny.
has any right to be. I
Yeah.
shouldn't
Like
be
I
cheering
really
like
wanted
oh,
this movie to be like so bad it's good, but then I was like, is it just good though?
it's just good.
If
It's
it
not
was an
even
American
like
movie, it would be so bad it's good. It's
yeah,
like Shark Boy and Lava Girl, which has like the worst CGI the world has ever seen.
ever. I
Ever.
don't think you can make it look worse if you tried.
No, no. Like
Although
it's
Marvel
kind
has
of like
certainly given
that.
that a go.
A nice. um, it's you expect it to be like that, but then it's just not. It's just actually good.
Yeah.
Doesn't make any sense.
No. Oh my
I have
gosh,
to tell
it's
you,
so fun.
Gabe told me to watch this movie, and he did
Mm.
not sell it very well. He's like,
Come
yeah, I
on,
don't know.
Gabe.
I think I watched it a couple years ago. I don't really remember. This guy like turns into a fly or something, and then like it was like one sentence, barely scratched the surface. I was like, why didn't you say anything about the naked wizard? Hello? That's so much more interesting. It's like you don't want me to watch it.
Yeah. Like it's like we've said this with RRR a couple times, right? Like it's so hard to oversell it. It's
Hmm.
hard to get your expectations way so high and then
Yeah,
the
just be like,
like
okay, imagine
actually
1,000 animals setting things on fire. And then that's just like a blip on the radar of this movie.
yeah, and the
Yeah.
reality of it is so much cooler than you possibly could have let your imagination conjure up. Same thing with this one. As funny as you think it's going to be, it's funnier. It's like more comical. It's more slapstick, but also it's like a
It's just
genuine
like
victory.
genuinely
Like
awesome. You're like,
it's so
yes!
fun.
You're
I
rooting for
never
a
thought I'd be that
man
up.
who turned into a fly. You're
I'm
genuinely
really
rooting for him like
trying.
he's your best friend.
Yeah. Yeah. There's one shot that I love. He's just gone into like the little cannon, right?
Yeah.
That he's
Oh,
he's tricked Sadeep into putting a ball bearing into, and I wonder if that
and
will come up later.
yeah,
Hmm. Yeah, jamming the thing into it, like
yeah.
loading a gun. Interesting. And Sadeep is like, ha, I got you, you little bastard, like maniacally, hysterically laughing. Again, this man is not doing
And
well.
everyone in the room is like,
And Nani the fly is sitting at he's got his little fly head propped up on one of his little fly feet watching him.
he's like kicking
Sadeep
his feet and giggling, watching this guy lose his mind.
Sadeep locks eyes with his fly, and Nani turns around and wiggles his butt at him. Like he does this a couple of times to let Sadeep know.
Yeah.
I'm not just any fly. I'm your worst nightmare. It's really twisting the knife in there. He doesn't have to do this, but he draws it out. He enjoys it. And that's what makes it so fun.
It's so funny. There's this
I
moment
love it.
Sudeep and one of his guys is checking the CCTV in their office.
Because this guy
And
has
why,
renovated his
like,
whole house.
how do they have such advanced technology that they can zoom in onto a fly and
Outside
see
the
that it's
window.
wearing goggles and fly outside of his house and the camera is inside and there's a person in front of the window and they still can just they just zoom in and enhance and it's like there. How do they do that? Like, oh, he's wearing goggles and little knife gloves.
Like, the reason
Oh,
that they have this whole security system set up is because this man has retrofitted his entire house to not let in any outside air. They have sealed every single window
no.
with like bulletproof glass.
Which is so funny to me too, because it's like, why don't they just leave him in there and then he would eventually die? He's
Like
in
for very
an
long.
airtight building.
Oh my gosh. And every time someone comes into his house, they have to be like blasted with smoke and they've got someone on like the um what's the word I'm
It's
looking for?
almost like
The
an infrared camera, except it only
yes,
picks up flies.
only picks up flies. So like people are just being really like assaulted when they try to come and visit this
Immediately, he
guy.
has like the most high stakes security system of all time just because he gets annoyed by flies. That's what it seems like to people.
One of my other favorite parts too
This movie is
is
so awesome.
it rips in every way. In the aforementioned business meeting where he comes in wearing a motorcycle helmet, he's like, thank you for your investment, we used your money to buy cement and iron and fly repellent. And one of the guys is like, whoa whoa whoa, fly repellent?
Fly
And he's like, fly
repellent.
repellent? Why would you need fly repellent? Did someone say I'm afraid of flies? Why would you think that? Who would ever say that I'm afraid of flies? No, we're getting bricks, but you can use bricks to kill flies. And also, anyone who tries to buy an apartment here is going to have to kill 1,000 flies before we let them apply. And everyone's like,
Why would you think that I said fly repellent, you stupid idiot? I never said that. But by the way, since you asked, bricks. Like he's so...
like it reminded me of that Vine. Hi, my name is Michael with a B, and I'm scared of B. And he's like, whoa, 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 there's a bee. There's a bee. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
that's
Go ahead and introduce yourself. My name is Michael with a B, and I've been afraid of insects my entire. Stop. Where? Where's the bee?
There's a bee?
which
That's
came
one of the
first.
vines of all time.
That's what
Um,
absolutely. And I'm trying to
that's so
decide which
funny.
inspired which. Like
Right. Which came first, the movie Ega or the vine Michael with a V?
Rajamouli saw that. He's like, now hold on a minute. I wonder if we could make this into a whole movie,
He
right?
put that into the middle of the movie and then just expanded it outward.
Yeah. And then so this retrofitting that he has done in his house to not let anything in also doesn't let anything out. And this comes back into play when he invites the wizard that he's just gone out and found again into his home to cast dark magic to kill the fly.
And this scene is so awesome. They have a pentagram and candles, and everything's all spooky and creepy.
Mm-hmm.
And Nani is just sitting out the window, like watching, like, what's gonna happen now? This is so funny. And then basically, the wizard possesses two birds to hunt down Nani,
Yeah.
basically. And what I loved about this is they're just like sparrows or whatever, like they're pretty small, regular birds, and they're
Mm-hmm.
given the like eagle cry, like the stereotypical eagle cry that's actually a hawk and not even an eagle, and that's
Yeah.
their sound when they're possessed, which is super
Yeah.
funny because sparrows
But
could
then,
just eat a fly anyway,
yeah, they could just be normal birds. But no, they make them
but they have to
super
turn like
evil
red-eyed and like
and like dark feathers. And Nani,
uh,
because he's not a normal fly, because he's a human person who's been reborn as a fly, he has human ingenuity. And he like definitely, I mean, it doesn't even really take him that long. He
no, in
beats
two
both of the
minutes he
birds.
completely tricks the birds, and then
Yeah.
also
Lights
catches
the room on
the room
fire.
on fire, and Siddiq and the wizard are inside the room. And the security system malfunctions. It has nothing to do with Nani, it just malfunctions. Oops, on accident. And so the doors lock, but while Siddiq and the wizard are still inside of the room, and it's so on fire. It's so immediately like engulfed in flames. And you see him, he puts his hand up on the glass door and he's like about to die, he, like crumbles to the ground, and Nani's like flies away. I'm sure, I'm 100% certain that he murdered that wizard.
He did.
Snape didn't care. He just let him die.
Yeah.
It's so funny. Like I just imagine being in his kind of circle of like, you know, how like rich people and celebrities, they kind of do these like weird things sometimes.
Yeah.
But what if you're like, oh, did you hear about Sadiq? He was in this car accident last week and he's been crazy. Like he thinks that he's being haunted or something, or like that he's trying to be killed by flies. Anyway, he killed this wizard. Like I would just fully believe that it was Sadiq's fault.
Absolutely.
Like he invited him over and set him on fire. Like it looks like an attempted murder suicide. I'm gonna lock this man in my house and set it on fire.
When his henchmen come in and are like, hey, who's that guy? And he's like, the wizard.
Are you stupid? Obviously.
He's so unbothered by the fact that this man is dead in his house. Oh, and then because Nani thinks he's dead, right? So like he goes back and tells Bindu, hey, we did it. He's super gone. But then he isn't, because he lives. So Sudeep is this is where they zoom in on the fly from outside somehow. And he's like, who do we know that could make super crazy tiny goggles for a fly? And then he remembers also it's Bindu standing by the window at that moment. She unscrewed the screw that let him into his impenetrable fortress. And so
and also the way that he realizes this is that he's sitting in front of the window that has one screw loose, and he's like, how could anybody have gotten into my impenetrable fortress? And then he feels the slightest breeze of air from the outside, and he's like, the window. It's so ridiculous. Anyway, so he survives, and he somehow doesn't have to be in the hospital for smoke inhalation or burns or anything. He's just basically fine. He's a little tired. That's like his main symptom from
also
setting himself
does not
on fire.
Get arrested or questioned in any way.
No, in any way. They're just like, oh yeah, Sidiq killed this wizard guy by setting his house on fire. Just another Tuesday. So like, yeah, so he's fine. He sees Bindu on the CCTV and he's like, interesting. And so she has to go back to his house, and now she knows that he's alive, and he knows that she was in allegiance with the fly who's trying to kill him. It's like any sentence out of context sounds absolutely batshit.
She's in cahoots with the fly, who's her lover.
Her lover, not even former. We're not gonna say. But we know
for this fly. We know this. Like, there's one point, and this is just the most like this is a very strange part of the movie. There's just a drunk burglar in her room, and she's talking to the fly, but he thinks that he's talking to her. She's talking to him. Yeah, and she's like,
I see you, you little thief, and he's like, what?
She's like, you're getting me into trouble. I'm gonna have to start telling people that we're lovers soon. And the drunk guy's like, huh? But also, she's talking to a fly. He doesn't know this. He thinks she's talking
to him. Because why would he know that?
What? Like, yeah, there's no
If you were hiding in someone's room and they started talking as if they were talking to you, would you assume like, oh, no. She's probably just talking to her fly boyfriend. I know you're here, you little thief. You're gonna get me in trouble. I'm gonna have to tell people that we're lovers. And he's like, is that a threat? Or like, what?
The camera shot goes so excessively Bollywood in this moment too. Like usually Rajamouli is like it's over the top, but this is like the PowerPoint transitions where he goes boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
5 different shots of this man.
Awesome.
I'm obsessed. Yes.
Yeah.
So
That's
Bindu's
really
at
good.
yes.
I will say that it does matter a tiny bit that he's in her room.
Yeah.
Because at the beginning of the movie, it's a little child asking their dad to tell them a bedtime story and not one that they've heard before. And you immediately forget this. I have
Right.
never watched a movie that I sooner forgot that it was set up as a bedtime story.
Yeah. No, it's instant.
It's instant. It seems like that's just accidentally the end of a different movie and not
Yes.
the beginning of this one until
Yep.
the end of this one when you hear like the credits start rolling and you hear the child's voice again saying like, but whatever happened to that thief? And you're like, oh yeah, that happened in the movie. Like so much happens that you completely forget that the kid exists, and then you forget that there was a thief in Bindu's bedroom at one point. And the conclusion is that he thought that she was talking to him. And he thought, I really shouldn't be a thief anymore. I should turn my life around so that I can be the kind of person that Bindu could really love. He's sober, he gets a new job, he starts
Gets a
going to
job. He gets
church.
promoted.
Because of a miscommunication, he was talking, say it with me, to a fly.
Fly boyfriend. This is the greatest movie ever made.
This movie rocks, dude.
So
Yeah, I
good.
couldn't get
And the
enough of it.
implication, right, is that the guy telling the story is the thief. He's like, man, you want to know what like that crazy thing that happened to me one night? Like,
Yeah.
love that.
And
Love that.
if
Really
that
good.
were true, like, okay, so let's say that the dad in the beginning is the thief, and the mom, therefore, is Bindu. And that means that she, at one point in their relationship, was like, we're getting serious enough. I have to tell you something. And she has to confess that for a few months, a couple years back, she was madly in love with a fly. Like,
And she helped him murder a man.
yeah. And that's fine. Like, they're not going to go to the police with it or anything. It's just like, whatever. He's like, anyway, so is that a yes? Like,
yeah. I love this guy.
so funny.
So he's really good. Oh my gosh, I love it. What I love too is going back to Sudeep a little bit, is that every single thing that causes him so much harm is usually just the consequences of his own actions. Whether it's like every single, like he cask of Amontillado himself.
Yeah. On accident.
Yeah. Everything he did is on
stupid.
accident, but it sure is his own damn fault. Like,
yeah.
Girl, why were you keeping all that money in the safe? Why did you think that was going to be a good idea?
Like, why didn't you have separate locations?
Why didn't
like each
you put it in a
million can
bank?
be in its own? Like, yeah.
Yeah. And the fly is the catalyst for a lot of thieves, but also he didn't do that all by himself. He sure had a lot of help from you.
Sudeep really made himself an easy victim of a fly.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Like nobody else would really have this problem, but that's his whole thing, right? That he's so full of himself. It's like, I am infallible. Nothing bad ever happens to me. I can do whatever I want. I can get any woman I want, even if she's already married and also already knows how to use a gun. But then when her husband meets me, says, "Oh, my wife likes to go shooting. You should teach her how sometime." So it's like, that's interesting. She already goes to the shooting range. Why does she need to be taught? That's just like a little thing.
Yeah, you clearly don't talk to her enough to know that she's just good on her own. But also, Sudeep is charming enough to like. I love this because he's being so insufferable. He walks right in front of her as she's about to shoot. He's like, "Hey,
yeah," and that's crazy to me. Like, imagine if the movie started, he's at the gun range and he's like, pull, and then she comes up and it's like, pull, and he walks in front of her shotgun and gets blasted in the head, point blank, with a shotgun. which
because
would
he was
happen
being
if
stupid.
somebody called pull and you didn't say anything and walked in front of them.
Yeah, because that's exactly
He's so
his whole
stupid, but that's
personality.
just who he is. Yeah, he's like, I
Yeah.
literally cannot be harmed.
No. And
I'm just gonna sneak
somehow
up behind
this
this
works on this
married woman
woman.
and put my arm around hers and teach her how to shoot, even though she's already at the shooting range and she
And
drove
clearly
herself and
knows
she knows
how
how to do
because
it.
she's doing well on her own. And then not only that, I'm gonna steal the rest of her coke on this table. Do you
Yeah,
see that? He just
yeah.
finishes it off while she's packing up her stuff. And she's like, do you come here often? And I'm like, girl, I get it, but
Yeah,
like, don't. Come on. We're
yeah.
better than this.
And
Yes.
then in the next scene,
Very
he's having
funny.
this party with all the big shareholders and whatever. And her
Mm-hmm.
husband is one of them, and she shows up, and they're like,
Interesting.
in front of
And
God and
that's
everyone, and that's fine.
And that's what kickstarts the earlier conversation. I'm like, damn, dude, can you get any girl you want? And he's like,
And he says yes, except for my wife, and I didn't kill her, so stop
I
asking.
didn't kill my wife. Yes.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so funny. Yeah. So anyway, Bindu is at his house. He knows that she knows. And
That God knows.
and God knows. And he's been trying, like he's being hunted by a fly, and that's really good. But also the insanity that is a human person is helping a fly try to kill another person.
Yeah.
From any
And
outside
she's not
perspective in
even
this
the
movie,
mastermind. She's helping a fly.
she's helping the fly. The fly is telling her what to do, and she's doing it. All of the characters in this movie, if anyone actually talked to them about like what was going on in their life, they'd be like so concerned.
Yeah.
Oh, so is the fly in the room with us right now?
Yes,
she orders the
actually.
fly a cappuccino.
Yeah.
I love her so much.
I love
She's
the
so
waiter
funny.
that comes up and is like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. There's a fly in your food," and she's like,
He likes
"Silly.
it.
The food is for the fly." And the waiter's like,
You just walks away.
"I mean, what did you do?"
You can do. Oh my gosh. Oh, I love real quick going back again. Sudeep. Okay, so you think a fly is trying to kill me? Where do I go? He goes to a bug doctor, an entomologist, and says, "Do flies like try to kill people?"
Do flies
And
ever take? Do animals ever take revenge? And the one guy is like, "Oh yeah, my grandpa once had this experience that a snake, took revenge," and he's like, "What about something smaller?" And
like a
they're like, "What do you mean,
sparrow,
like a
or maybe a
bird or a mouse?" And
fly.
he's like, "Yeah, maybe, or like maybe even smaller, like a fly." And they're like, "Of course, sir. Yes, of course, a fly could take revenge." Get a load of this guy. Like, it's so bizarre.
When he asks the question, there's like a screeching sound, and everyone like turns to look at him.
Like record scratch, slam the brakes. Yeah, it's wild.
Really, really good. And again, this would be funny if he was wrong. If your boss just decided to go crazy one day and thought a fly was trying to kill him, and he just like all of these things happened, and he just ended up
Yeah, what if there just
like
happened to be a fly in his room while he was trying to sleep, and then there happened to be a fly in his car while he was driving to the airport, and then there
yeah.
happened,
Mm-hmm.
that's what flies do.
Sure.
Like
They're everywhere.
it could just be a coincidence, and he's chalking it up to like, oh, somebody's after me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that
And
would be funny to just watch this man spiral.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Anyway, so the movie ends.
Yeah. It does. It ends with basically there's a huge shootout at his home. It's him and like six other men and Bindu who's unarmed and crying and a fly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And of course the fly wins. Obliterates his entire home.
Yeah.
You can see the foundation. Like it's bare
It's
bones in there.
crumbling.
It's crumbling to pieces. Bindu like tucks herself away into a side room just in time before the rest of the house explodes. And that's whatever. She just gets out and is like, I'll never forget Nani's sacrifice for me, or whatever.
Because here's what happened. Remember the loaded cannon from earlier?
No.
Someone had put a napkin in it, so can't do that anymore. But then during the middle of the fight, napkin falls out. And then because Sudeep is a super crazy person, he can't just kill the fly when he has it at his mercy. He's got to torture it in turn because
No,
he's
well, he has to make
so
Bindu
stupid.
do it. So he's holding her arm
He's
and like
holding
making
her.
her do the motions. And so then she's like, no, he's my best friend.
Yeah. So he
There's like a lot going on in that scene.
so crazy.
There's like
So he
some
cuts off
gunpowder
his
spilled
wings.
on the desk, and so he
Yeah.
like pulls off the fly's wings and then he like sticks it in the gunpowder. But so then the fly is like, I can use this to my advantage. He's covered in gunpowder and he like drags himself over to the cannon, jumps in.
Well, wait, before that, Sudeep makes his henchmen take off his socks and shoes because the fly is wingless now on the ground,
Does he
surrounded
not know
by
how to do and undo like shoelaces? Like he doesn't know how to tie them or untie them, so he's like, you do it.
must be like that's that guy's only job.
Yeah.
But so he's got his bare foot going to squish this fly, and like, why would you want a barefoot fly squishing anyway? So gross in 1,000 different ways. Be normal, you freak. So he's going to step down, and Nani the fly, who's wingless but not defenseless, he sees just a random needle lying on the ground, and he's like, "Oh great, this is gonna be awesome." He holds it up, so Sudeep goes, and the needle goes whoop, right through his
Mhm.
foot. Super gross. And then
And
he's like,
also
"Fine, I've
wouldn't
had
have
enough.
happened if you just wore a shoe. If you were wearing shoes, this wouldn't have happened.
This wouldn't have happened.
That's what shoes
Everything
are
is your own
for.
fault."
Everything you're doing is wrong.
So he tries to kill the fly by lighting it on fire.
Obviously.
But Nani did plan for this. So he's now on fire. He's like, great, awesome, cannon. Whoo. So ball bearing
Jumps
goes off.
into the cannon, and there's already a tiny cannonball, and
Loaded
everything's all
from
packed in. It's
earlier.
ready to go from half an hour
Absolutely.
earlier when Sudeep was being crazy again. Yeah. And now he's on fire, so he can crawl into the barrel, jump down, and everything. He gets shot in the head or something. I don't know.
It doesn't
Sudeep
matter.
dies. It doesn't really. Yeah. Finally, after being like physically attacked so many times in such a short amount of time, yeah, Sudeep finally bites the bullet, as it were.
Oh, oh, you.
And it's awesome. It's so triumphant.
It's so sick.
And then you see Bindu kind of like move on with her life and do all these beautiful things. And again, we reintroduce the thief that plays a very minor role.
Mm-hmm,
He's
mm-hmm,
back,
mm-hmm.
and they like meet up because they start going to the same church, which is awesome. This movie, like, I feel like we've been talking for 2 hours and barely scratched the surface of this movie. Like there's still so much more to be said, but like we always say, just watch the movie. You'll like it. You'll have a good time.
Mm-hmm.
Open your mind, open your heart, and just get ready for like the funnest night of your life.
Open your mind,
this
open your heart.
movie.
Don't open your windows.
Nice.
It's like, you know, we've always said it only a movie. This is not only a movie. This is a life-changing moment.
This is an experience. Was that a fly?
Vacuum.
Oh. But who started the vacuum? A fly? Anything that happens in your life, you can be like, but
was it a fly? Was it a fly? I'm going to start doubting that now. I've never murdered anybody in order to make romantic advances on someone who was in love with that person. But that I cannot rule out the possibility that a fly is out to get me.
Mm-hmm. For just some other reason. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The fly's name is Nani, as we all know. And it's totally normal, except for like one time, and I don't remember what point it is or what character says it, but someone says "Nani" like exactly as if they were in an anime, and it killed me. It was so funny. I was like, worlds colliding.
I genuinely, I cannot recommend this movie enough. Thank you 1,000 times to the commenter who recommended that we watch it. It's changed my life.
This one's for you.
This one's for you because you did this for us. Dedicate this entire video to him because I'll absolutely my life.
Yeah.
It's the most fun I've ever had. I'm gonna watch it again after we end this.
And it's like I've been meaning to watch it. But if anybody had just explained to me how actually good and entertaining it is, I would have watched it so much sooner. Like it would have jumped to the top of my list, you know?
Yeah.
Why didn't anybody tell me? Why did they just say like, oh yeah, it's about this man who is killed and reincarnated as a fly, and then something happens after that? I'm like, yeah, of course
it's like a Looney Tunes after short.
That. It's a movie.
Something that's the whole movie. That's just the setup of the movie. The movie itself is insanity.
Yeah. It's like trying to get someone to watch Bahubali, and you're like, basically this prince of a kingdom survived but doesn't know who he really is. And then that's all you say. It's like, okay, like you're just setting up the backstory of the movie. You're not telling me what it's about or like why I should be interested in it.
Yeah. It deserves so much more.
Yeah. It's so awesome.
It's so good. It's so good. I love it so much. And I did go through I have a list of other movies, including the other what was it? A Barfi that was recommended.
Yes. Yeah.
So
we gotta watch that one.
Yeah, we'll make it through slowly but surely, because like
yeah.
If they're all at this level, if you're
don't recommend a movie to me
to us
unless it's this good.
yeah but for real, it's really good. Please go watch it. It's on Netflix for now. I love you, Nani. I love you, Sudeep. I love you, Bindu. They're my new best friends. God, it's such a party.
You could pick any scene from this movie to use it to describe to somebody to get them to watch it, and there wouldn't be a wrong scene to pick.
No,
it's all fantastic.
Like they're, and if you picked like a really fun, like the one that I was trying to find is the "I will kill you" from inside the car, because that was it's just so ridiculous, and you think, well, that's only halfway through the movie. That's crazy. It can't possibly get any better from there. But then,
no, it does. Yeah. That's just basically only his first plan to kill this guy.
Yes. Iga. Oh, SS Rajamouli, what can you not do?
Wow.
Yeah. Well,
thanks everybody for being here and for listening and for watching the movie. Yay, everybody go watch it and then leave a comment about how much you loved it. Yay.
Yes. Tell us your favorite scene down below.
Yeah, give me a timestamp. Oh, it's so good.
So good. Hi.
Whitney says hi.
Hi. I said it twice.
Nice. If that means you win.
Suck it. Well, yeah, I have to go. I'm gonna go take care of I've got my fabric all over, and I think that's why the vacuum was on. Is that kind of mess out there?
It's like a subtle hint that you need to clean up.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yes.
Go team.
Go team. Okay, 1, 2, 3, break.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.